Tonight on CBC Vancouver News. Who's the leader?
Well, I'm currently still the leader of the party.
I've been chosen as interim leader of the Conservative Party.
Chaos in the BC Conservative Party as John Rustad fights again to stay in power. Plus, the push to bring Handy Dart back in-house.
Handy Dart is just one example that get contracted out to corporations where profits become more important.
Why TransLink won't be taking over operations for the accessible transit service. And preparing for onboard disasters.
Everybody's nervous, everybody's a little jittery, everybody's unsure.
An inside look as local fire crews find new ways to simulate calamities on the water.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lien Yeung. More political turmoil tonight for BC's Conservative Party. A defiant John Rustad is on the defense again, insisting he is still the leader of BC's opposition party. Earlier today, his own caucus and board said a vote of no confidence from a majority of members means he is out. CBC's Provincial Affairs reporter Katie DeRosa has the latest.
The BC Conservative Party says John Rustad is out as leader. Rustad says he's still in.
Well, I'm currently still the leader of the party.
Rustad reacting to news from the party board that they had removed him. The party citing professional incapacitation and appointing Trevor Halford, MLA for Surrey White Rock, as interim leader.
We're in some pretty incredible, unprecedented times, and what I've been calling for is stability.
It's still unclear, however, if the board has the legal power to remove Rustad as leader. The party constitution says the leader can be removed for resignation, death, incapacitation, or a leadership review. The political drama started Wednesday morning when a letter sent to party president Aisha Esty was signed by 20 BC Conservative MLAs, saying they had lost confidence in Rustad's leadership.
I haven't for quite some time had confidence in John Rustad, no. The majority of the caucus felt like we needed change.
Including you?
Yeah.
Speaking before the party's decision, Rustad remained defiant.
Are you going to resign?
No.
Despite the move from the party brass, some BC Conservative MLAs insist Rustad is still the leader.
There is a order to the process, and this is out of order. I am disappointed in my colleagues. I am disappointed in the way that this has taken shape. John is our leader.
Right now, it's John Rustad.
It appears not all MLAs took part in the vote that was held to select Halford as interim leader.
No, I wasn't part of any vote.
I was not in that meeting where there was a vote.
So basically some MLAs had a vote, but not all?
That is what I'm hearing.
BC's premier says the chaos in the party comes down to Rustad's decision to bring in people who peddle conspiracy theories and pro-Trump views.
I don't know how you could hold a group together with that kind of hodgepodge of craziness.
Rustad has lost 5 MLAs since becoming official opposition leader, and this is the 3rd letter calling on him to resign. It's led to an unprecedented level of confusion about who exactly is the leader of the official opposition. Katie DeRosa, CBC News, Victoria.
Okay, joining us now to talk about what's been a wild day in BC politics is political scientist Stuart Press. So first off, Stuart, what's your take on what's gone down here?
Well, it's widely being described as chaos, and I think that's as good a word as any, because as of right now, it's not clear who is leading the official opposition in the legislature, and the process through which this is unfolding is in some ways unprecedented. So we don't really know where the story is going from here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, have you ever seen another party leader refuse to step down despite multiple calls from his caucus?
We have certainly seen leaders drag their heels and refuse to look up at the writing on the wall. But generally speaking, when the signals are this clear, this unambiguous, that their time has run out and that they are losing the support of the party apparatus, that they are losing the support of serving MLAs within their caucus, that they don't really have the confidence of the party that they hope to lead, and sooner or later they bow, generally with a certain amount of grace. We saw a version of this story federally just last fall when Justin Trudeau took his time in announcing his decision to step down as Prime Minister, but eventually he bowed to what was increasingly clearly the inevitable and stepped aside. And Mr. Rustad's refusal to do so is in that sense very unusual.
Yes, indeed. Now, he just went through a leadership review in September. He had nearly 71% support. Is that relevant here? Because this is something that he keeps citing publicly.
It is relevant to a point, given the constitution of the BC Conservative Party. That is the only binding test of his leadership and then the confidence in that leadership. So having passed that threshold, although there was some scrutiny of the results and some issues with the ballots actually being counted, but at the end of the day, the votes counted had him passing his review. And yet, it doesn't speak to his ability to actually lead the party in the legislature. And this is effectively a gap in our own party leadership within Canada more broadly, where we elect leaders and we review leadership on the basis of party membership, but within the politics of the day, the actual individuals the leaders need to lead are those members of the caucus, and yet they don't always have the power to voice their displeasure in unambiguous terms, and we're seeing that tension exposed right now.
And Stuart, so final 10 seconds here. Any quick thoughts on what the future of a conservative leading party, conservative leaning party is for BC?
Well, it's hard to see a way for Mr. Rustad to continue at this point. He doesn't have a party to lead, and yet until he admits that fact, we are going to be in something of an imbroglio.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it there. Thank you, Stuart Press from UBC. And an update to the pulp mill shutdown that we told you about yesterday. This is on Vancouver Island, where 350 workers are set to lose their jobs. BC's Forest Minister is now responding. Ravi Parmar says the news of the permanent closure was, quote, gut-punching for the people of Crofton and the Cowichan Valley. But he says the forestry sector has been struggling for a long time now.
With compounding duties and tariffs, with pine beetle in the interior and the north, as well as other challenges associated with accessing economically viable fiber, we do have the potential to see more curtailments and more closures.
In the meantime, the minister is promising he will do everything he can to ensure there are good-paying jobs for people in the Cowichan Valley. And advocates have been pushing for changes to Handy Dart. Right now, the services are contracted out to private companies. But as Pinky Wong reports, despite a push to bring the service in-house, TransLink says they are sticking with their current model.
TransLink says an in-house model for Handy Dart would increase their annual cost by $20 to $70 million a year.
Maintaining a specialized contractor for Handy Dart allows us to focus resources.
The union representing more than 620 Handy Dart staff says the privatized model does not work.
Every time there's a contract flip or an ownership change, that leads to our members having disruptions in payroll, and many of our members went through their benefits not being covered.
She says not having the stability has left the team short-staffed.
Workers leaving the service despite being really dedicated to the riders.
A work stoppage happened last September over a labor dispute with Transdev, the French company contracted to operate the service. Senior advocate says the essential service shouldn't be run privately.
Handy Dart is just one example that get contracted out to corporations where profits become more important than the service delivery.
TransLink reported more than 1 million Handy Dart trips delivered last year, with more than 20% of rides provided by taxis. But advocate says in some cases, taxi drivers are not trained to service riders properly.
A lot of those issues that the persons with disabilities and older adults may face, they may be expected to lift a device into a vehicle where, if it's a taxi, whereas the Handy Dart driver will do it for them.
Suzanne Lam uses Handy Dart services at least once a week.
The taxi is fast, go to there.
But her husband does notice a difference in service offered by Handy Dart drivers.
They can help her to go up and sit down in the wheelchair and then go, and then the driver take care of her to arrange to fix up the car.
TransLink voted in favor of expanding Handy Dart service from midnight to 2 a.m. and says they're committed to better training for operators. Pinky Wong, CBC News, Burnaby.
A group of volunteers from Surrey is taking on a project to research a lack of cultural foods in Canada. As Saurabh Sandhu reports, the initiative aims to understand and address food insecurity among Surrey's Black immigrant population.
Hannah Spiker and her group of volunteers are on a tour to visit local food stores in Surrey that carry specialty food items imported from other parts of the world. Spiker and her team are part of the Black African Caribbean Advisory Committee at Seeds of Change Surrey, working on a project to study the availability of culturally preferred food items for the Black community, which are not readily available in Canada.
The cost is a lot, but it still tastes like home, so it's a necessity for me.
Oh, the cookbook.
Yeah, the cookbook.
Hopefully we can get that cookbook.
Spiker and her group are collecting data to examine the cultural, social, economic, and environmental factors that drive food security.
Here we are in Surrey, which is the province's largest Black population.
Spiker says research shows Black communities in Canada are at an increased risk of food insecurity. A 2022 research conducted by the University of Toronto shows children under 18 living in a food insecure Black household were at 46%, the highest among all groups.
When we're talking about food insecurity, a lot of time the narrative is around, here, you got something, that should be good enough. And instead, when we're talking about food insecurity from this other lens, and this is for everyone, there's dignity in your food, and access to nutritious and cultural food is and should be a right.
Apart from the food itself, there are also accessories to the food that are also very important, like the fish, like the meat, even the iru, the spices, also very critical. They make up part of the food.
The multi-year project partnered with Kwantlen Polytechnic University received federal funding last month.
We want the research to be relevant and useful to them so that they can then lead with data. We want them to go out into their communities and advocate for the things that they need. So we're thinking that this could be along the lines of different or more improved food-related programs and policies that are aimed at improving food security.
Toyin Kayo Ajay is a part of the Black African Caribbean Advisory Committee. He says in 2019, he sensed a lack of availability of African foods. He has since decided to take on the challenge of growing those foods here in BC.
Our efo green, our water leaf, our bitter leaf, our malabar, amaranth, and hugu, all those kind of vegetables, I started experimenting it.
Kayo Ajay says the results of the research will not only come in handy for addressing food insecurity, but could also provide economic opportunities.
We already experimented more than 80% of the food that we can grow, pretty much that we can grow here in Canada. We just need more support, maybe partnership with municipal, federally, provincially, and maybe some investors to work with us. The market, there's a big market for this.
Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Surrey.
And speaking of food security, a reminder, you're invited to join us at the CBC Broadcast Centre here in Vancouver in support of communities in need and food banks in BC. That's on Friday. It's called Make the Season Kind. There will be a full day of special programming, family-friendly activities. And if you want to make a difference or see the full list of festivities, go to cbc.ca/kindbc. Make the Season Kind is, again, this Friday, December 5th, and it'll be happening throughout the day here at 700 Hamilton Street. And one of the people you'll get to meet at Meet the Season Kind, our very own Darius Madavi. You'll be there at 11:45 for your meet and greet session.
That's right. Me and Johanna. Come say hi. We'll
Very
talk
good.
science. Yeah, we can also talk weather. Lots happening. Great segue. We have lots of moisture streaming into BC. Most of the precipitation will be relatively light, but it will come to most of the province, with those stormier conditions tapering off tomorrow afternoon for the interior, but continuing on the coast as we have a low pressure system moving in. We do have freezing rain warnings for parts of the central interior up to the inland central coast, as well as fog advisories for parts of the Kootenay Pass area to Allison, and then also for parts of Highway 97. So a few things to be watching, land, but overall it's a pretty calm picture. We'll talk more later in the show.
Okay, we'll talk to you then. Thanks, Darius.
Thank you.
Still ahead, how a tugboat on land is helping prepare for nautical disasters on Burrard Inlet. That's after the break. Stay with us. Former federal Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault says the Prime Minister's reversal on oil recovery tax is a betrayal of a prior budget commitment to the Greens.
We had made an agreement as a party with Elizabeth May from the Greens that we were not going to include this in the budget. In fact, there's a specific line in the budget that said that it's not included. And she supported the budget in part because of that. And I feel that it's a betrayal for us to change our mind like this 2 weeks later, basically, and put it in agreement with this MOU with Alberta.
Guilbeault quit cabinet last week over Ottawa's deal with Alberta for a new potential oil pipeline. And taking you back to BC, where an overnight fire burned a small apartment building in Steveston in Richmond. Fire crews quickly put out the blaze, but as Michelle Gomez reports, residents have been forced out for now.
Some leftover police tape, a singed exterior, and a smoky scent in the air. This morning, there are only minor signs that a fire took place here. But last night, witnesses say flames and smoke filled the air until about 3 in the morning.
The smoke just started to blanket the sky at first, and then I guess it became so thick from all the water, it actually lowered down here and covered this entire area like fog.
Richmond Fire says it responded to the call just before 8 p.m. Tuesday. Crews arrived to visible flames coming from the upper floor of this low-rise apartment. No injuries were reported, but 20 residents have been displaced. This evacuated resident says she had to leave her 7 pet birds behind. She hopes she can retrieve them today.
The adrenaline kicks in, you know. You just got to do what you got to do. And I go, just pray the birds will be okay. And, you know, what can you do, right?
Richmond Fire says support teams have been sent to assist the displaced residents. It says it has begun the initial stages of the fire investigation, but the cause is undetermined at this time. Michelle Gomez, CBC News, Richmond.
A North Vancouver shipyard has teamed up with the local fire department for a novel approach to safety in the busy working waters of Burrard Inlet. As Liam Britton reports, with traffic set to increase, the company says it's an important measure to protect mariners and the environment.
A fire on a tugboat threatens those on board, others on the water, the environment, and those dousing the flames. But today's nautical disaster is a dry run. C-SPAN and the District of North Vancouver Fire Department recently christened this mock-up of a tugboat at the Maplewood Fire Rescue Centre. They say it's the first of its kind on the West Coast.
So this allows us to actually train in a vessel with decks, with engines, with mess rooms, with galleys, with superstructures, actually simulating what kind of firefighting we'd be doing. What's up on those?
CBC was granted an exclusive look at that training. Smoke, flames, tight spaces, darkness. Today's trainees are volunteer shipbuilders at C-SPAN learning to be a first line of defense.
We're going from the galley fire on the starboard side. We have a fire that's been burning for a period of time. Our team went in with fire extinguishers. We couldn't knock it down. They pulled out. We've closed the door and contained it. So once again, door opening procedures will take place, getting a line in there and knocking the fire down as best we can. Okay, are we clear with that?
Copy that.
All right, guys, let's do what we do.
A spray on the hot door helps reveal where the heat is. And after more dousing, the team advances. Higgins says it wasn't perfect, but this is a chance to learn from mistakes safely.
There's multiple things involved in here. And unlike firefighting, it's not just about problem solving, it's about doing it safely and taking care of each other.
North Vancouver firefighters use the mock tugboat as well, as can other cities' crews. But there are calls for more tools like this. Between shipbuilding, maintenance, and the flow of trade, Burrard Inlet is busy now and could get busier.
Rotterdam, Hamburg, all the big ones, London, they have definitely significantly more protection from the water side, yeah, but also unified protection from the land side. So that's what we really have to work on in the Lower Mainland and Metro Vancouver together to be prepared for any emergencies.
He and Higgins argue this mock tugboat is an important way for crews to get their sea legs before calamity surfaces. Liam Britton, CBC News, North Vancouver.
A rainy morning in the inner harbor of the provincial capital. The island seeing plenty of rain. Darius is back with your full forecast coming up. Taking you across the border now, as the Trump administration prepares to review CUSMA, U.S. business and policy leaders flock to Washington for a public hearing in front of officials. Katie Simpson was there to see American businesses singing a very different tune than the White House.
U.S. President Donald Trump injecting more uncertainty into his trading agenda, casting some doubt around the future of CUSMA when asked what he's thinking about a possible renegotiation.
You know, that's just an ongoing thing. It expires in about a year, and we'll either let it expire or we'll maybe work out another deal with Mexico and Canada. But look, Mexico and Canada have taken advantage of the United States, like just about every other country.
Trump's framing is off. CUSMA does not expire in a year, but the trade agreement between Canada, the U.S. and Mexico will be reviewed and likely revised starting next June. In Washington, behind closed doors, high-stakes consultation hearings are now underway. Industry, business leaders, and experts telling the Trump administration what they think about the deal, which is also known here as USMCA.
We believe that the USMCA should be renewed, that tariff-free access between all three of our countries for produce is vital.
USMCA provides stability and predictability for North America, especially in an increasingly volatile global order.
Trump is expected to demand concessions from Canada and Mexico during the review process, after long complaining about his trading partners.
I think the president may issue threats.
Brian Clow led Canada-U.S. relations for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He says there could be more tariffs or renewed threats to blow up the deal, and Canadians should brace for uncertainty.
This is the firing of the starting gun for that review, which I think is going to be rocky, lengthy, and probably messy at times.
That's our Katie Simpson reporting from Washington. Well, Tim Hortons is arguably Canada's most popular coffee shop. It may also be Canada's most prominent lobbyist for temporary foreign workers. CBC News has learned that the coffee giant has been pushing federal leaders to raise the legal limit on the number of migrant workers it can hire. Rafid Boujikanian has the details.
Over the course of the last 18 months, Tim Hortons and their parent company Restaurant Brands International have been lobbying the government to raise the limits on temporary foreign worker hires. Last year, in a letter released under an access to information request, a company representative wrote to then Immigration Minister Mark Miller asking to raise the cap of TFWs from 20% to 30% of total employee hires. Several months later, the government went the opposite route, lowering the cap to 10% as Canadian views on immigration soured. This year, the company has been lobbying MPs from multiple political parties, the Liberals, the Conservatives, and the Bloc Québécois. In July, Bloc MP Alexis Brunel-Duceppe says the company tried pressing him on raising the cap of TFWs for Tim Hortons stores in his riding from 10% to 20%. Then in October, Miller says the company made the case to extend expiring work permits for TFWs in a smoother fashion. Tim Hortons says it needs flexibility for TFWs, especially in rural or smaller communities.
As an employer, I have a vision. I need people, and they're here as a temporary foreign worker. I've seen many examples where they are able to get permanent residency and stay and become a community member.
The government says it can't predict future policy decisions, but it did design the TFW program with that flexibility in mind. The Conservatives say the program should be abolished, accusing it of importing cheap foreign labor. Rafi Boujikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
And CBC News has exclusive new details about a Mercedes-Benz supercar admired by the world's richest collectors and now in the hands of the FBI. Thomas Daigle lays out the connection to Ryan Wedding, the Canadian Olympian turned alleged drug lord.
Probably the most special car here.
Thought to be worth a staggering $13 million US, this ultra-rare Mercedes-Benz Roadster was once on proud display by Abu Dhabi's royal family. Now seized as evidence by FBI agents hunting for Canadian fugitive Ryan Wedding.
From Coquitlam, British Columbia.
CBC News has learned how the former Olympian turned alleged cocaine kingpin may have used the car as part of a global money laundering scheme.
This guy runs what the U.S. have described as a $1 billion a year enterprise, and so he wants his toys.
Last year, a dealership in Miami imported that 2002 CLK GTR after purportedly sourcing it for Drake. One of just 6 roadsters ever built and in pristine condition, with the odometer reading only 22 kilometers.
They're just in the very best collections on planet Earth.
But the deal with Drake fell through, and we obtained this purchase agreement signed instead by Roland Sokolovsky, a Toronto jeweler identified by U.S. authorities as a chief money launderer for Wedding.
Wedding operates through a complex web of individuals and companies to launder his drug proceeds, using everything from front businesses to luxury cars to cryptocurrency.
That massive money laundering network purportedly also involved military-style tactical boot camps used to train hitmen. And even Wedding's Mexican wife, who authorities suspect also helped him carry out violence.
I'm sure that, it's a tip of an iceberg of a much broader operation.
As for that Mercedes, the FBI won't confirm whether it's set to be auctioned off. Authorities say there were plenty of other luxury cars, motorcycles, and properties around the world used to hide the profits from Wedding's criminal empire. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is promising substantial funding to fix the on-reserve child welfare system. Carney's announcement comes as the federal government faces down a court-ordered deadline to come up with a plan. But as Olivia Stefanovich explains, it's at odds with a competing vision.
We will complete the crucial work.
A pledge from the Prime Minister to fix First Nations child and family services once and for all.
Our approach to child welfare will be First Nations-led, community-led, and it will be supported by significant additional funding.
After almost 2 decades of litigation between First Nations and the federal government, the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal has set a deadline of December 22nd, the day Ottawa must submit its plan to reform the on-reserve foster care system.
This moment in time will go down in history.
But Carney's government isn't the only one preparing a proposal.
And so we're going to file some next steps.
CBC News got behind-the-scenes access to a session at the Assembly of First Nations Special Chiefs Assembly, hosted by the National Children's Chiefs Commission, directed by the AFN to come up with a counterplan.
We've got 25 years of evidence, and we've worked with public finance experts to create a finance approach that would create measurable outcomes for children.
They say it will cost around $50 billion, more than the amount former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau put forward.
If you wish to oppose.
And the AFN rejected.
Every day that we spend discussing the technicalities of an agreement is another day that a child is in care. And that is something that is important to me that we address.
The Indigenous Services Minister says she's determined to bring the two sides together.
It's not just the deadline that I'm concerned about, it's these kids that need us to do our work collaboratively, reflecting the realities.
We cannot take one child and treat the other child differently.
The chair of the National Children's Chiefs Commission says the minister's offer comes too late.
Is it possible that you will be able to create one plan within the next couple of weeks and come together? Do you have any confidence that will happen?
No. Well, that option was there when this came out, when the ruling came out. The option was always there.
It will be up to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal to decide which solution to move forward to fix the broken on-reserve child welfare system once the Commission and the government make their filings later this month. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Have you ever heard of the term shrink it and pink it? Well, it's when you take an article of clothing designed for a man and simply make it smaller and add some traditionally feminine colors. When it comes to shoes, though, there's growing evidence that this is a problem. Our Darius Madavi explains.
These shoes are identical in every way except for color. But runners who wear this one might be more likely to get hurt because it's a man's shoe being sold to women. This can be a big problem because a woman's foot isn't just a smaller version of a man's.
most athletic footwear is still research designed and tested based on male anatomy. Women's feet are more pie-shaped than men's feet.
In other words, the heel is a bit narrower and the forefoot is a bit wider, so the shape is kind of like a slice of pie. Women also tend to have a higher instep and their ankles are lower. Women have wider hips and a more flexible Achilles tendon. All of this means the biomechanics of running can be dramatically different between the sexes. Yet the design process for most women's runners ignores this completely. Instead of designing a shoe from the ground up, they just scale down a man's shoe.
It's known as shrink it and pink it.
Chris Napier, the director of the Run Lab at Simon Fraser University, says there's a pretty easy fix.
It's just a matter of taking a female last, so the mold that creates the shoe, and sort of basing it off female anatomy, and then building a line of shoes off of that.
If you've ever run with ill-fitting shoes, you know how uncomfortable it can be. You might even be more likely to get hurt. While there's no hard data linking injuries to women's running shoes, we know female runners are more likely to get certain injuries compared to men, especially injuries related to the calf, lower leg, and bone stress. Napier and his team recently published a small study where they held focus groups with women who ranged from 20 to 70 years old, with varying levels of running experience.
The main findings were that these shoes just didn't fit their foot. I think there was an aha moment when the women in the room realized that this wasn't just a personal issue that they had felt.
The women ranked comfort, injury prevention, and performance as the most important factors when choosing a running shoe.
I think when the paper came out, there were a lot of women just sort of nodding their heads going, yeah.
While some big brands have released runners designed for women's feet just in the past couple years, it's still very rare. So others have stepped up to fill the gap.
This shoe was research designed, developed based on female anatomy.
Lindsay Hausman is the founder of Heddas, a company based right here in Vancouver. Their goal was to create a science-backed running shoe for women. But there was a problem.
Between 2014 and 2021, only 6% of research studies focused exclusively on women.
Many major studies don't look at women at all.
The original Nike Vaporfly shoe, which was sort of the original super shoe, all the testing on that initially was just done on men.
So Heddas teamed up with the Run Lab to fill these research gaps and make their findings publicly available.
We have 10 infrared cameras spread around the treadmill. They pick up the reflective markers that you can see on Kaylee there.
This fancy setup can model a runner's biomechanics.
So we can actually also do measurements of oxygen consumption, that sort of thing, in different footwear or under different conditions, and determine, how those shoes might affect performance, or we can look at how it changes mechanics.
Runners and researchers alike hope that once innovations like this find their footing, all women will be able to find shoes that help them succeed instead of being their Achilles heel. Dars Madavi, CBC News, Vancouver.
A snowstorm has slammed into parts of Nova Scotia, closing schools and tying up roads. The latest on a storm that's left thousands in the dark, coming up.
This is our kindness tree, a tree of hope and love, and we need to fill it with cheer. December 5th is CBC's Make the Season Kind, and we're spreading joy with a day filled with free, festive fun for the whole family. Exclusive tastes, special fan meet and greets, selfie stations, a concert or two, and live broadcasts throughout the day. So don't miss out. Make the Season Kind, December 5th, 700 Hamilton Street.
Right across Atlantic Canada, many are digging out tonight after a blustery nor'easter blew through. As Selena Alders shows us, it left roads treacherous and many kids at home.
On this mountainous stretch of the Trans-Canada Highway in Nova Scotia, tow crews worked through the snow to keep traffic moving.
We got a jackknife Purelator 18-wheeler that started off, and then a bunch of other trucks and cars started spinning out.
Whiteout conditions forced the closure of a major section of the highway, the only road link into New Brunswick. Many schools across the region shut down as well, including all schools on Prince Edward Island. The nor'easter swept in from the United States, where hazardous conditions sent dozens of cars off the roads. The storm even led to this harrowing scene in West Virginia, where a truck driver was rescued from inside his cab after it went over the side of a bridge. In Newfoundland, up to 30 centimeters of snow fell in some places, and many drivers were scrambling for last-minute winter tire appointments.
It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of cars there for tire changes and not enough time in the day.
Still, many are embracing this first real taste of winter.
We're just enjoying the first snow of the year. It's amazing. Like the whole city is just white and it's amazing.
It's not so bad, is it? We're in Newfoundland, you know, not Disneyland, right?
Others took in the novelty while it lasts.
It's the first snow. It's nice, it's beautiful. We'll get sick of it eventually.
As the storm moves out and crews clean up, Atlantic Canadians are now bracing for a cold snap in the coming days. A reminder that winter is only just getting started. Selena Alders, CBC News, Halifax.
The weather update is brought to you by BC Cancer Foundation. Give today to bring more progress and possibilities to patients and their families. Your donation changes everything.
And Darius is back with another look at the weather. So, Darius, before we get to the weather, I do have to tell you how great that story that you did was on Shrink It and Pink It. I had no idea this about shoes. That was very interesting. And I've been wearing sneakers my whole life, so...
Well, now you know. You gotta look for
Now
women's.
I know. Now I need to know, go and look for shoes that are, you know, women specific.
Actual women specific.
Yes,
shoes.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so that was excellent work, by the way.
Thank you. Very
shall we talk about this nor'easter? You love that Atlantic Canada spirit there. It's Newfoundland, not Disneyland.
That's right.
We are used to the snow.
That's, I mean, fair enough, and good thing, because they got a lot of it. Some places seeing upwards of 30 centimeters of snow, especially in the interior of Newfoundland and those more central areas. Heavy snowfall coming down, but in some places then seeing rain coming down on top of that. Most of it has started to taper off now. Most areas have seen the snow that they're going to see, but another wave of precipitation is likely coming to the area as we get into the end of this week, Friday and Saturday. But there are still a couple warnings in place. Mostly, these should be coming down the next couple hours. Orange warning, so more disruptive kind of warning. Winter storm warning, so strong wind gusts and snow still possible in those areas, but really not expecting to see much there. Same thing with this yellow snowfall warning. This wind warning might continue into early tomorrow morning for parts of Newfoundland on the Avalon Peninsula. Those 80 to 100 kilometer per hour wind gusts. And then snow squalls might also continue into early tomorrow morning for northern sections of Cape Breton. So a few things to be watching here, but for the most part, the worst of it has passed. And as we get to the end of this week, that next wave of rain and a little bit of wind, not expected to be nearly as intense. Now, in terms of what we're seeing here in BC, we're going to see another wave of precipitation arrive on the coast. We're starting to see that make its way down already, but the heavier stuff likely won't be coming until early next week when we see another blast, this atmospheric river lake event. Again, a lot of our rain every year comes from atmospheric river events, 30 to 50%. They're not always dangerous. This one, probably on the lighter side for an atmospheric river, but expect some sustained rainfall through early next week. Might miss us, but something to be keeping an eye on. We do have, again, precipitation breaking into the interior over the next couple days. Bit of a break comes at times late Thursday into early Friday. That next wave of precipitation does come through, and then we'll look more later in the week about what we're expecting early next week. But with that being said, accumulations of rain aren't expected to be too high, and keep in mind this is snow in the interior as well. This is just showing all precipitation. Here are our temperatures over the next couple of days. They are dropping in the northeast in particular, but they'll start to come up again as we get into the weekend. Conditions across the province tomorrow look, a little bit rainy, a little bit showery, a little bit like some flurries are coming in the southern interior, but nothing intense, and that'll continue to taper off into the afternoon in the south, in the interior. And here's our 5-day forecast.
That atmospheric creek, not a river coming, a little one.
I love that, yes.
I'm gonna trademark that. All right, thanks, Darius.
Thank you.
A new Canadian study is reopening the discussion around the potential benefits and risks of prostate screening. Researchers found a rise in stage 4 diagnosis of prostate cancer a decade after Canada started advising against blood tests for the disease. Anand Ram reports.
So here's our phone number. If you want to speak with someone.
Dennis Farbstein is helping people navigate their new prostate cancer diagnoses, having gone through it himself years ago.
Had I not been screened, it could have been gone, into other parts of my body, metastatic, and then I would have been in trouble. So for me personally, I was very fortunate.
But screening for prostate cancer through a controversial blood test known as the PSA isn't recommended in Canada. Now, new research suggests a lack of screening means more serious cases.
Metastatic or stage 4 prostate cancer has gone up by 50% in men aged 50 to 74 and by about 65% in men in their late 70s.
The study also looked at prostate cancer deaths over decades. When screening was more widespread, mortality rates dropped. But when guidance shifted to actively not recommend screening, that life-saving progress plateaued.
We can see the way that screening guidelines are impacting prostate cancer outcomes.
But other experts we spoke to disagree with this interpretation, saying we've made huge progress in diagnosing and treating prostate cancers, and still argue that screening, though simple, may open the door to more problems.
The benefits don't always outweigh the harms, and we don't talk about harms often. You will unnecessarily undergo biopsy, you'll unnecessarily undergo surgery or radiotherapy. All of those have complications that affect the remainder of the quality of a life.
Make a fist for me? Advocates argue the blood test should be more widely accessible, and updated Canadian cancer screening guidelines are expected next year.
One of them actually put me in a hospital with sepsis during a biopsy.
Farbstein knows the risks that come with more invasive testing, but ultimately he's been cancer-free for nearly 2 decades and says he's giving back by helping others understand their choices. Anand Ram, CBC News, Toronto.
Researchers in Canada and the U.S. are looking into the idea of an unexpected benefit of group singing, one that could help stroke survivors struggling to speak and communicate. The CBC's Alison Northcock reports.
Singing together gives members of this choir a chance to use their voices. The singers have all suffered strokes and have developed a condition called aphasia, which affects the ability to speak. Now they're part of a study to see if singing can help their recovery.
We are hoping that this study will demonstrate that choir activity is really good for people, good for their language, but good for their social relation too.
The randomized controlled trial has sites in Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, and Tampa Bay, Florida. The study involves 12 choir sessions for each group. Serge Balancic has had trouble writing and finding his words since his stroke in 2022. He hopes this study leads to more treatment options.
I like because it gives me occasion to speak, you see, and to find my old voice.
Researchers monitor heart rates and vocal range. It will take a few months for researchers to go through the data and determine if group singing helps improve language skills and quality of life for people with aphasia. Previous research suggests music may help parts of the brain not damaged by a stroke to improve communication through rhythm and pitch.
You want to make sure that...
But more studies are needed, says this stroke neurologist.
There is definitely evidence that these kind of therapies can work, and we will have to see how these trials will end up.
When they start singing, you could just see the soul free up, and it's just so magical to see how much music brings life back.
Belancic is optimistic and hopes others with his condition can one day benefit from an activity like this too. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
And a liquor store in Virginia was broken into by an unusual bandit. The details of the heist gone wrong next.
States.
A liquor store in Virginia had a highly unusual break-in. The suspect trashed the place in an alcohol-fueled rampage before passing out in the bathroom.
Very dramatic. The perpetrator was found like this, crashed out on the floor next to the toilet, but not before ransacking the shelves and going on a bit of a bender. The local animal protection crew managed to detain the very intoxicated raccoon. It seemed pointless to question this masked bandit. He was taken to the shelter to sleep it off for a few hours before being safely released back into the wild. Wow, this story, I didn't ever think I would be reading a story about a trashed panda. Trash panda?
Oh, that was almost a really good pun.
It's almost like
Yeah.
I came up with it myself. That was our show director, Mel, that came up with that.
I have to say, I started reading the first half of that story, and I thought, this is not usually the kind of thing that we would do at the end of the show.
No, but this is
but
actually
as it turned
news.
Out, beautiful.
This happened.
Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, YouTube, and our website.
And I'll have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the National. Good night.